Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Beth and this is Spiral Path Arts. And today we are going to make a mask. Now today's mask project isn't your typical Halloween mask. And it isn't just a craft project. It's almost more of an art therapy project. What we're working on today is working on our masks that we develop over time throughout our life, the stories that we tell, the story that we get ingrained in. In yoga, we call it samskara, the groove that we get into because it worked once and we're in an uncomfortable situation perhaps. So we're just going to go back to what worked before. And it may not be the right thing for this particular situation, but it's what we're used to. It's also can be called ego. It could be called persona. It can be called a lot of different things, depending on who you're talking to. And in shamanic healing, we call them masks, or some call them masks. And it is that mask that you put on to hide your true self when you're scared, when you're going through a traumatic event, or you've survived something traumatic. And quite often they're developed completely subconsciously. We don't even realize that we've developed them. We don't realize that they're there until we try to work on a healing journey. And then we come up against this feeling of inauthenticness or inauthenticity. We're trying to be more authentic and something is stopping us. We're in a new relationship and we can't quite get over the crap from the last relationship. And so we start behaving in the way that we behaved in the last relationship that didn't work, and we sabotage ourselves again. Those are all mask behaviors. The masks are in control. They grab us by the emotions and they lead us around like a pony in a ring. And why do we have these masks? Well, they're there to protect us. Sometimes when before we're even fully conscious human beings, we're just infants, something happens and we realize that we have to behave a certain way. We learn very quickly that this behavior will get this reaction from those that are in control, the adults around us, and be seen and not heard. Be a good girl. Good girls don't do that. These are things that we're taught when we're very young, sometimes consciously, sometimes subconsciously. They all feed into our masks. Sometimes we're put into situations that are very uncomfortable for us because of perhaps our own neurodivergencies or just personality types. And in order to survive, we have to find a mask. We have to develop these subconscious masks to be the party girl when you really just want to be home reading a book, to be the go-getter businesswoman when you just want to be a stay-at-home mom. In reverse, to be that contented, quiet housewife that just complies and doesn't follow her dreams and her desires. When your true self is an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, a powerful go-getter attorney. Whatever your situation might be, you put on a mask to get through the situation. And our masks aren't all bad. They keep us alive. They keep us out of shame. They help us navigate the world. But sometimes when we're working on becoming more authentic and our true selves, and as my teacher says, living in our song, well, they get in the way. And we need to have a stern talking to and a sit down with them and thank them with love and gratitude for all that they've done, and then put them aside. So that's what today's project is. I hope you enjoy it. So where do our masks come from? Well, we're not born with them. We're born truly in our song, in our truth, we haven't developed our stories yet when we're born. But our masks are our stories. Our masks come from events in our life, events that have shaped us, have told us who we should be because of our society or our family, our culture, where we're wanting to fit in. Our masks come about to keep us safe from things that may harm us psychologically, maybe even physically. We learn how to present ourselves in the world to keep ourselves safe. And this develops our masks. And our masks continue to feed on that anxiety, that fear, those behaviors, that shame response, things like that. And they're often just triggered by simple things around us, depending on their origin, how deeply ingrained they are. They can be a trauma response. These masks are triggered by an event or situation, some point in our life when that is emotionally charged, that we're emotionally uncomfortable. And we respond with a behavior, an automatic behavior that we have learned that has helped us in the past get out of or deal with this uncomfortable situation. And being a mask, this is not this behavior, this response isn't in alignment with who we truly are in our soul, who we were born to be. But it has kept us safe. It has helped us avoid shame and embarrassment in the past, perhaps. But these behaviors become almost addictive in the way that we use them, because even if the situation is uncomfortable, even if this is keeping us from being our true selves, they help keep us in control. But the truth is, or at least a feeling of control. But the truth is, it's the mask that is in control, not us, not our true selves. My shamanic teacher would refer that to that as being in song, in being in your true self, living your true life, and being true to your song. Well, hello, Henry. Hey, baby. So you may be thinking, well, masks then, if they're not our true selves, if they're keeping us from being in song, in, living our truth, living who we were brought here onto this plane of existence to be, then they must be bad. We must get rid of all of our masks, and we should be ashamed of them, and we should fight against them. Well, much like the bully in school, if you fight back, sometimes they will back down. But typically what happens is the mask feeds on that energy. Where you put attention, that is what will grow. So rather than fighting the mask, rather than being ashamed of the mask and feeding it more emotions, positive, negative, any of those emotions, especially the negative emotions, I should say. The negative emotions are just going to feed that mask even more. And so what we want to do instead is to engage. Now I used to work retail for a lot of my young adult life and through adulthood until I became a stay-at-home mom, and then again after that. But one thing I learned in retail is when I would have a customer come in that was unhappy. They bought something and they got home and maybe they're just having buyer's remorse. Maybe their spouse kind of got a little angry about money they spent that they shouldn't spend. Maybe there was something legitimately wrong with the item that they bought and they needed to get their money back, or some kind of something to make them happy. Well, 9 times out of 10, they would come into the store all ready for a fight, assuming that whoever waited on them, they were going to have to ask for the manager. They were going to have to take it to corporate. They were going to have to fight about what to get the response that they wanted and they thought was right. I learned very quickly that the best way to deal with a client like that, a customer like that, and it threw them off their game almost every single time, was to approach them with love and understanding, compassion, and listen. Let them rant, let them talk, let them tell you all the things that were wrong, and then ask them, what would you like me to do? How can I make this better? But most of all, just agree with them. Say, yes, I see where you're coming from. Now, even if they're wrong, even if, you know that whatever their complaint was, they're just making it up because they think they have to have a good reason to get their money back or whatever it might be. So they're already coming in with a story. Well, if you let them tell their story and let them know you've heard them tell their story, well, then usually once they feel heard, then they'll shut up and listen to you. And they'll know you're listening, and they'll know you're being compassionate. And quite often then you can get something more easily accomplished than putting up your defenses and feeding the fight that they came in to have. Well, that works with our masks too. As soon as our masks feel threatened, if they feel that they're not going to get to be able to survive and do what they are designed to do, and that they're not being appreciated and understood or heard, they're going to put up a fight and they're going to get more entrenched and kick up the emotions and all the things. So instead, engage with your masks. Give them a name. Understand where they came from. Sometimes you can tell immediately. This is my people-pleasing mask. This is my good girl mask. This is my party girl mask that comes up when I'm going into new social situations and I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. So sometimes accompanying these masks they bring along some friends with them, some addictions perhaps. So the party girl may have the smoking addiction attached to her mask. She may have the excessive alcohol consumption also attached to her. There's all kinds of things. As soon as we recognize where those masks come from, well, then we can engage with them, listen to them. Why are you here? What are you doing? What is your purpose? Why did I create you in order to survive? And then once you've listened to them, and there's many shamanic ways of journeying and guided meditations and things that you can do to engage them and find that out. Well, then you can honor them and say, thank you, Party Girl Mask, for being there and making me, protecting me in those awkward social situations that I wasn't comfortable with. And, making me the life of the party. Maybe I did meet some new friends because I had the confidence, the false confidence that you gave me. But I don't need you anymore. I'm grown up. I'm more mature. I know that after the party is over and I have to see those people again, well, one, I don't want to be embarrassed by my behavior that maybe I felt safe engaging in when I was behind this mask. Or maybe I met someone But they saw me with this mask on, and they have a different impression of the real me, my true song, who I really am. And now I need to take you off, put you aside, and be the real me, because I want these people to know who I truly am behind the mask. And so then you have that conversation with your mask, whatever your mask may be. And you say, thank you. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you for whatever you've discovered that the message of the mask is, the purpose. And then you can set it aside. And again, there's shamanic ways of doing this through meditation and journeying. You can make a symbolic mask like this one and honor it, set it aside, or perhaps even have a ritual. You can have a ritual in meditation. You can have a ritual in journey where you meet your masks and dispose of them. Some people like something a little bit more solid, more. Cat, you're not eating my. Oh, no. More concrete is the word I was trying to get to before I got distracted. So if you want, if you prefer a more concrete resolution, well, make a mask like this and talk to it as you make it. Tell it its story. Say, I know where you came from. I remember this event. I remember being shamed or embarrassed or scared. And this is when you came to be, and you saved me in that situation. You protected me. And I thank you for it. But now I'm on my own 2 feet, and I don't need that same feeling anymore. And then once you're done with the mask, well, if you feel like you and your mask are, on pretty good terms, maybe you can give your mask a place of honor. And you can display it. But maybe it's a mask that you're really, really done with. That's really caused just as much emotional issues as it has saved you. And you're ready to get rid of all the reminders of that traumatic time and move on. And so make your mask and then dispose of it in whatever way feels proper and right for you and your mask. I always like to burn stuff. I'm not a pyro or anything, but I do think that the act of something being consumed in the fire and then ashes spread somewhere, the smoke dispersed through the chimney or into the air, something very alchemizing about that. I have read of shamanic traditions of taking the ceremonial mask and disposing of it in a body of water. I don't want to pollute or litter, so I don't think that's going to be an answer in my case. But once we have been able to name our masks and go through some work with them, some processing with them, well, then we can begin to call our real power back from the events that created this mask. it's so easy to fall prey to our mask. And even after doing mask work, you may find that they come back. And you'll have to do it again because it's so ingrained in us. And some of these masks come from our pre-language days of childhood, from infancy. And so when those triggers happen again, it's so easy for them to come back, and we get out of song, we get out of our true selves, and we have to remember who we are again. So one way that my teacher taught us to think about processing our mask work is through shamanic journeying, which I'm not going to take you on today or here, but through a shamanic journey, you can find your shamanic doorway. And then you can send your masks through that doorway where all the other masks are. And they can have a grand old time fighting with each other and trying to show who is the most powerful mask in their kind of like reindeer games, but instead of reindeer games, they're mask games. You could also visualize your masks, work with them through journeying, meditation, and ask the molten core of Mother Earth to alchemize and consume your masks. In a lot of shamanic cultures, the medicine people or the shaman would wear a mask during ritual, during ceremony. But why would a shaman wear, or a medicine person wear, a mask? Well, because mask is also known as ego, as persona. So if you're in a healing space and you are the healer, you want to put aside your ego, your persona, and become a hollow bone and allow the spirit, energy, universe, whatever you may call it, to work through you. And it's not you doing the work, it is spirit doing the work. So you hide your true self in a healthy way, in a way of putting aside ego. Also, many shamanic masks have a fringe or a beading or something across the eyes, and that helps to get into trance work because it causes the illusion. It breaks up the illusion of reality and in front of the eyes, and it helps to bring one in, cross the veil, and bring you into a feeling more of stepping into an altered reality. I'm just using watercolor paint today to create my mask. This is a paper mache mask, so it could When I bought it, I thought I was going to decoupage on it. I thought maybe I was going to get more paper clay and add dimension to it. I thought that I might decoupage fabric on it or beads or feathers or something along those lines. But as is often the case with any kind of art, you kind of just go where your materials and the project leads you. And this is the direction this project decided to lead me today. So we're going with it. I had forgotten that I had this palette of pearlescent watercolors that I literally think I found at the dollar spot at Target or someplace like that. I don't recall now. They've been in my stash and forgotten about for quite a while. And I think they add an interesting look. I am not liking what I'm doing to this poor mask's chin, but keep adding until something looks kind of right, maybe. Henry, you are not helping very much. I know you think you are. No, this is not a toy. So have fun with your mask. Take some time, make some tea. Mugwort tea is always a favorite when you're working with journeying and you're working with crossing into the unknown, working in the shamanic field. If you're not comfortable yourself doing this work, find a healer that can help you. A teacher, a guide, something like that. I do subscribe to the idea that when you are ready, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That has happened to me numerous times in my life and my path. Sometimes teachers have appeared that I was ready for, but I didn't know I was looking for. Maybe that will happen for you. If you're watching this video, well, then there's a good chance that Spirit has decided that on some level you're ready for this. Something that came to me last night while I was meditating on this project and working through not just the logistics of how I was going to film this and do this, but also engaging with my masks and going into the shamanic realm. And something that came to me was over time, we wear our masks so unconsciously, so automatically, that we don't even often realize that we have them on and realize that what we are presenting to others is a mask, isn't who we truly, truly are. To the point that over time, even some of those that are the closest to us don't even know who we are. It takes someone new, perhaps, to come along, a teacher, a fellow traveler, to see beyond the mask. And how does this happen? Well, what happens, I believe, is that we wear the mask and we become to others, they think our true self is the mask that they see, to the point that they're not seeing us and our true selves. And as is often the case, what they're seeing instead of seeing the true self of us that we are showing them, they're seeing our mask. And with our mask, they're also seeing a reflection of themselves. They're projecting onto us what they want us to be, how they want us to behave, how they expect their daughter, their wife, their sister, their mother, their friend, their coworker to be, to behave, to whatever. And that's being reflected back to them because we're not in our true selves. We're not in our true song. And we're just going through the motions again and reflecting back to them what they want to see instead of who we truly are. So I encourage you to spend a little time. Maybe you need a therapist or someone else to talk to, a healer, a teacher. But maybe you can just sit in meditation and think about what your masks are, where they came from, and how they have served you. And then work with them, sit with them, talk with them a bit. I suggest you do it without a pesky cat assisting you. And after you have identified your mask, thank it. Fill it with gratitude. Cover it with gratitude. You kept me alive. You kept me safe. And now I release you. Well, we went a little deeper today than we typically do around here at Spiral Path Arts. But Spiral Path Arts was originally called Spiral Path Healing Arts because one of my callings and one of my true gifts and medicines in this world is to be a healer on some level. And I have put my healing hat aside for the last few years because my life I didn't have space for that in my life. And I've been called strongly back to it recently. And I wanted to share just a tiny bit with you for the 31 days of Samhain. So if you're interested in hearing more about my healing journey, my personal healing journey, and how I like to work with others and have been called to share with others, then please comment and let me know. I hope that you are able to identify your masks in a healing and healthy and safe way and process them and thank them. Again, they are there for a reason and they served a purpose. But usually at some point in our life, that purpose has been served, but the habit of putting on that mask subconsciously is so ingrained in our behavior and in our minds and in our souls that we don't even know we're doing it. And in order to be our true, authentic selves and follow our true, authentic path, be it as spiral as it may be, we need to set those masks aside and present our true self to the world, unapologetically and, most importantly, unafraid. Thanks for watching. I'll see you back tomorrow. Namaste. The true me sees the true light in you. Peace out.